on, let's go, boy.
What is going on, folks? Sue
What's up?
and
What's
me
up?
are
What's
back talking Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. And
You just got out of the theater.
yeah, got out theater, went to go see this. I find it interesting. So Gil Keenan, you mentioned his name. He did one of my favorite movies, Monster House.
There you go.
And you could tell the emphasis of Monster House is in this movie in a major way. He also wrote Ghostbusters Afterlife too, part of the writing team for that. So that makes sense on the continuity from Afterlife and this.
Well, both Gil and Jason Reitman wrote it.
Yeah. But yeah, the Monster House influences is heavy in this movie in a good way. I just want to say first and foremost, the plot of this movie is actually pretty engaging. Unlike Afterlife, which, for better or worse, for some people that watch Afterlife, it had a heavy on the nostalgia. Hey, don't you remember this and Gozer and all this and stuff, right? And I think it was great that they did that because when you watch Frozen Empire, oh shit, we got a new story. Great, and I love it. Yes, there's a tinge of nostalgia, obviously, when you bring in Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson and Bill Murray into the mix and Annie Potts and such, but it works because they're the Ghostbusters. They're part of the franchise, so they were able to still weave them in there and still use the new people in it as well. So made for a very entertaining movie from the beginning, middle, and end. I gotta say.
I will say this. Number one, I enjoyed this movie very much. I mean, I love Afterlife for what it is, despite what, whatever critics might have their, I guess their problems or opinions with the movie. I love Afterlife. This was like, hey, let's take Afterlife and turn it up to 11. But while we do that, I felt, and I'm glad that this confirmed it for me, this movie is basically it basically came from an inspiration from one of the episodes of the real Ghostbusters cartoon. And they said for a long time that they wanted to make a long episode version of the animated series. And that's what this movie is.
Oh yeah, you could definitely tell. I said Extreme Ghostbusters because there was an episode of Extreme Ghostbusters that was kind of similar in a way with, I think it was
the two-parter, the Thanksgiving episode from the last two episodes, basically.
Yeah, it was the two-parter where you had the new and old Ghostbusters teaming up and stuff and all. And you saw a little bit of that at the end of Afterlife, but it didn't hit the same compared to this movie.
Oh, it was nothing like Extreme Ghostbusters.
This movie is expanding on a lot of stuff that we as fans that watch Ghostbusters knew behind the scenes. Like a good example is Winston. Like Winston in Ghostbusters lore is a guy that actually ended up building himself up an empire of money and stuff and was using his smarts to, kind of continue the Ghostbusters. And we see that in this film with his character and what he's doing to continue the whole Ghostbusters thing, because obviously there's still ghosts out there and stuff. And I actually thought that was actually a pretty dope concept that they actually followed through on.
I mean, if you've seen, like, for anyone who's seen Afterlife, you know that he pretty much bought the firehouse at the end of Afterlife. Winston buys the firehouse and takes over, and he said it himself, I might be this, I might be that, I might have built myself up to all this, I got money, but first and foremost, I am always and will forever be a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that stood out to me is, I'm not person that's going to really be that snobbish about special visual effects, and I like about with this movie, there are moments where you see a lot of practical interspliced with the visual effects and stuff, and it actually works, whether it's the Slimer, whether it's the main villain of the story. Visually looks really good, and that's why I said
the VFX was really good in this movie,
and that's why I said the Monster House influences is heavy, especially with the lead villain of this story. Like you just see it visually with the horns and everything, even down to like the whole character. Obviously, if you've seen the trailers, freezing New York and stuff, like it just looks really good. Like they really nailed that aspect of it, and you're kind of like, okay, cool. Even there's a character that what's her face, she befriends a ghost in the movie, and it's actually done really well. Like you're kind of like, oh, this is actually pretty seamless in a way. But yeah, I mean, we can't really dive into it because there's a lot of jokes in this film that works with the way it's set up. But I will say, like I said, all the actors, including Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd being Paul Rudd.
Look, man, there are some jokes in this film that I was like, if it was anybody else, I would be like, boo, boo.
Yeah.
And in this movie, it's like, well, it's Paul Rudd. He just has that charm about him where it's like, God damn it, Paul. This is funny. This is funny. Shit.
For me, it was more of, yeah, I expected Paul to say this. Like a lot of his jokes, I'm like, yes, this is something Paul would say.
Also, Bill Murray looking like he's having a lot of fun in this film.
I'm still listen, Chris. I'm still going to be that guy and say that Bill Murray looked like, especially one particular scene, that looked like that was the last day of shooting.
I don't care. A happy Bill Murray. Look.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why he was happy, is because it was the last day of shooting.
Look. Again, I just like when we talked about Afterlife. It's like I don't want to bring up the other movie, but it's like you could tell the energy is a bit different in this movie, especially. Like it's okay. Fuck it. Might as well talk about this when we talk about this film. Nostalgia is an interesting thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you brought it up in the fact of, and I think I even co-signed it. It's like it's weird in that people like nostalgia, but then they'll complain about nostalgia. And I always thought that is weird because it's like, dude, Uchiwali or one mic, you know, you either for it or you're not for it. Pick a lane, because you can't just poo-poo nostalgia in Ghostbusters and then turn around and be like, but we need that. And I'm like, oh, but you said you didn't. What do you? Which is it? Like, I'm confused here.
I mean, here's the problem. Ghostbusters is one of those things where, can you say it's as timeless as Ninja Turtles, seeing how both of them came out in the same year?
I would say this held up better than Ninja Turtles in a way. I would say the only difference is Ninja Turtles had so many iterations, it hits for different age groups.
Yeah, but that's what makes Ninja Turtles timeless.
Yeah, it's timeless because of that. Yeah,
it's just because of that. Ghostbusters, on the other hand, started out as a movie and then became a cartoon. Like through its popularity, became a cartoon, a toy line, and by what I want to say, hell, even by the early '90s, Ghostbusters was pretty much on the decline.
Extreme Ghostbusters picked it up a little bit.
Extreme
Ghostbusters
loved
cartoons,
but even that got canceled. After Extreme Ghostbusters got canceled, it was just comic books,
which the comic line has been pretty strong.
And it just stayed with just comics. There were video games, and then of course the video game which took place after
the unofficial
third movie. Which by the way is really good if anyone's ever played it.
I think didn't the remaster come out like
they remastered it and put it out, so it's everywhere. You can definitely play it. It's Ghostbusters just been in a weird spot of you have no choice but to accept the nostalgia that it brings you, because it never really had that chance to I guess expand the universe of Ghostbusters like on a grander scale, like unlike other IPs from the 80s.
Yeah, I think
which still managed to hold up.
I think a lot of that has to do with, I think Ghostbusters could easily be like Ninja Turtles, where you have a new iteration on the animated front to kind of keep that in that wheelhouse. And I don't know, because like I said, that's what I like about the IDW comics is that they have a new generation of Ghostbusters and they still pay homage to the previous Ghostbusters in this big Ghostbusters universe. And I think
which is what the movies, especially these last two movies, do. It's like, hey, the old guys are still here, and
you got the young kids here.
And we got the young kids taking up the mantle, so to speak, but the old guys are still here. They can still put on the suits. They got one more dance in them, so to speak. So,
and I think that's how a Ghostbusters franchise should be. Is like you still keeping around those old players.
Yeah,
but you put them in a different chess. As a chess piece in a way. It's like, when you look at somebody like Venkman is still in this movie doing his usual Venkman stuff that
Yeah.
And I think that works for that character, because it's not like you're asking Venkman, all right, guy, put on your coveralls. He's like, nah, they got this. We're good. Even when you look at Ray is still doing his thing, which basically, I gotta be honest with you, it's Dan Aykroyd being Dan Aykroyd, except he's not peddling Crystal Head vodka. And I love it.
There was a shot. I meant to tell you. There was a shot in the movie. It's not a spoiler or anything, but there's a shot in the movie where when he shows up, and you see him. There's a cup. He's got a coffee mug, and on that mug is a skull. And I was like, damn it, Dan.
Couldn't help yourself, could you? Couldn't help yourself.
I get it. You don't want to put the skull vodka in the universe of Ghostbusters, but just seeing that skull on the vodka, I mean, like on the coffee mug, did make me laugh. I'm like, I get it. I see what you did there. I get it, Dan.
Yeah, but like I said, it's like I said, we talked about Winston and his new role. I love that. I love Ray. There's a moment where Ray admits, like, yo, I know I'm old, but I just love this shit.
Yeah,
there was no jadedness from him. It's like, no, I'm still love this. I'm gonna keep doing this until I hit the grave. And I love that because there's no most movies in that position would just have the character be jaded that he's still doing the goal. It's like, no, I love this. This is great.
For me, I always felt that wasn't Ray. That was Dan. I really believe that was Dan. Yeah. That was Dan saying that.
Oh, I love this. Let's keep this going.
And me personally, I love that moment because I was like, Dan is saying what I believe a lot of the fan base would say is, I wish that they had kept this going, just kept giving us good stories and, more fun movies and just being a great series. Like, some people feel y'all should have never stopped at 2.
Yeah, which I mean, I think that's also the other aspect when we talk about like franchises like this, where it's like Top Gun Maverick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, somebody in the studio wanted them to do a follow-up for Top Gun. And I'm sure the writers and even Tom was like, nah, I'm good. Because maybe at that time, what story could you really tell that was going to satisfy people at that time? Because otherwise you're going to have an Iron Eagle 2, 3, and 4 on your hands where it's just going to be not as great as the first movie.
And you'll have sequels that don't even have Tom Cruise in it.
Yeah, and it would
turn into that.
So when you watch like a Top Gun Maverick, you see, oh, they were just waiting for the right story to come along that works for that character, and then boom, Top Gun Maverick was like fucking dope as shit. So I think with Ghostbusters, it was like, obviously you got the video game, obviously you got the 2016 movie where they were trying to reboot it. That landed like a wet fart. And then like Afterlife, as much as I enjoyed it, it was very much heavy on the nostalgia, which I get because obviously you're trying to get people back into the fold of Ghostbusters, like how Force Awakens leaned heavy on its nostalgia for Star Wars to get people back. But I do like the fact that once you get to this one, Frozen Empire, it was like, all right, guys, we got the nostalgia on our systems. Let's actually tell a good story that's not heavy on bring back Gozer and all this other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, did you have to bring back Gozer? I mean,
sure.
Why not? I mean, that's like me asking because I'm a fan of Ghostbusters 2. That's like me saying y'all gonna bring back Vigo.
I mean, look, Frozen Empire, to their credit, they do bring up a lot of stuff from Ghostbusters 2, which I thought was great.
It was more so stuff from the first movie. I'm like, y'all really?
The news report, remember from?
The news report. By the way,
I love that.
When you see it, like you heard me in the theater, I was like, who filmed that? Like, who filmed the Statue of Liberty? How'd you get crystal clear video of the Statue of Liberty?
If you think about it, though, in
1989, who filmed that?
If you think about Ghostbusters 2, and just the idea of that, there was probably tons of news outlets on the streets like, yo, you see this shit? And so I
like literal stock footage from the movie. That's why I laughed at it. I was like, who filmed that?
But this is the most New York. But I'll always sit there and say that I love that Ghostbusters is like in New York because it's just the most New York shit ever. They literally fighting ghosts out on the street, and everybody's like, "Huh, all right, cool. I guess it's a Tuesday." That's the most New York shit ever. It is even the cops. There's a scene of the cops that's hilarious. I was like, "Yeah, some New York ass shit right there." The cops be like, yeah, let them have it. Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
It was like, they got it.
Like that, like any other movie again would have been like, all right, we're gonna chase. It's like, why? No, that's New York shit. So I think I just overall love the energy of this movie. It's only had $100 million budget, so they clearly they took their time with this. Because funny enough, after Afterlife, I didn't see much of a promotional push for this movie up until maybe a month ago.
Yeah,
And it was very silent on them even doing production on this film because I didn't see not a damn nobody say anything about this.
well, outside of the trailer, which was more of a teaser, and like you said, it wasn't until about maybe a month or two ago when we saw the push and the final trailer for Frozen Empire. I wanted to look more into the development. So basically, principal photography started on March. Oh wow, literally a year ago, March 20th of 2023 in London.
Didn't hear nothing.
And so you mean to tell? Okay, filming was definitely spotted in New York City, where of all freaking people, YouTuber Casey Neistat was caught filming a stunt scene in a video posted on June 7th, 2023, while documenting the effects of the 2023 Canadian wildfires.
That tracks because
bro. So they started it. So they started this by March of by March. So the principal photography started and filming wrapped. It literally wrapped up by June, like on June 23.
They're pretty efficient.
Y'all got on this, filmed it, and was done pretty quick.
I mean, but you also factor in they clearly gave the visual effects folks a lot of time to kind of really get shit popping for it because
it shows.
It shows, and I mean, I think this is definitely a look. I already got the steel case for Afterlife. I'm definitely getting the steel case for this movie because that's. I'm wondering whether I need to go back and.
Afterlife.
I'm wondering if I need to double dip and get the original ones on Blu-ray because I got the DVDs of it.
I don't have outside of the Ernie Hudson signed one for Ghostbusters 2 that you got for me. Mm-hmm. I don't have any of them on Blu-ray. I should. I'm kind of mad. I did not buy that 4K Firehouse set that had the 3. They purposely pushed 2016's Ghostbusters off to the side and like, nah, you're gonna get 1, 2, Afterlife. Done.
That's all you get. But yeah, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Definitely go see this film.
Yeah,
you'll enjoy it. You'll love it.
I'm giving it 8.5, like 8.5 out of 10 for me.
Oh, ditto for me, 8.5 easily.
And yeah, this solid film. I enjoy. Like, if you're a Ghostbusters fan, you would definitely love this. And you know what? I'm gonna say this because we went to high school with this guy. A good friend of ours, Randy Henderson, who passed away years ago. He would have loved this movie.
Oh hell yeah! Like he would have ate this movie up. Like it was. Man, I want more. They're saying they're gonna do more, and I'm like,
keep it coming.
If you keep that shit low key the way y'all film this, I watch it.
I look at it like this: you can honestly make a series of movies just out of season 1 of the Real Ghostbusters animated series. You can dive in a little bit into the Extreme Ghostbusters cartoon and pull some stuff from there. You can pull
some characters from that too,
and bring in some characters, please. I'm just saying the university, the universe, NYU is like right down the street.
Look, I will say this: the actors weren't the problem for the 2016 movie. If you're smart, you can use some of them actors and just say that movie didn't exist. And,
yeah, I mean, you kind of already ignore it anyway by putting out Afterlife, which is a direct sequel to Ghostbusters 2.
I will take those characters, rename them something else, and bring them into the fold of Ghostbusters and just have fun with it. That's just me personally. Hey, fuck it. Why not?
But
because those characters are because the funny thing is those characters are in the IDW comics and it's actually pretty fucking good.
The question: Can IDW afford Chris Hemsworth? Not IDW, sorry. Can Sony afford Chris Hemsworth now?
No, don't bring Chris Hemsworth. Just bring the 4 ladies, and that's it. Like, because those 4 ladies in the IDW comics, those 4 ladies, it's like I said, it's a big Ghostbusters. It's literally like Ghostbusters UK. Like, it's a universe, and it actually is really good. That's why I was like, this could work. I could see the vision from Sony on this as a franchise, and if they play it smart. I think that's the key thing.
That's the key. That's the key word right there. You got to do this thing smart. Don't just throw money at stuff and expect it to work, because that's how you get 2016.
Yeah,
and then,
Ghost Corpse
and then
is
and then you make people pay for it by upping the price of PlayStation Plus. But we ain't gonna talk about that. So, but yes,
Frozen Empire, 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Go see it.
Go see the movie. Go see it in IMAX. Like if you got IMAX near you that's showing it, please watch it in IMAX. A lot of dope shots from the movie.
Yeah, for sure. So, with that in mind, we will catch you guys later.
Peace out.
That boy is Benny Hanna.